God's Hookups television show. This is Dr. Barbara Young, your host, and this is a show that features up close and personal interviews with guests from all walks of life who share their stories about unexplainable blessings, successful events, and extraordinary miracles and encounters that can only be of God's hookup. You'll receive hope, enlightenment, encouragement that will feed your spirit and your soul. Now, to my guest today. Hello, John Kovash.
Hey, Barbara, how are you?
Jay, listeners, viewers out there, this is my guest today, the fabulous John Kovash. He is an award-winning international speaker. He's a champion and mastermind facilitator. And let me tell you, I have been in some of his award-winning masterminds, and he is terrific. He also is the owner, CEO of Amplified Minds Corporation. And he's the founder of the Champion Circle Networking Association. And the one thing that I like about John that we have on the show today, he's from Utah, guys. We got Utah. And moreover, he is the lead mastermind facilitator and team leader for the Habitude Warrior Mastermind, led by speaker Eric Swanson. And I know many of you guys have heard. So, hi, Eric. We're giving you a shout out. So, John, how are you doing today?
Oh, Dr. Barbara, first of all, I'm so excited to just be on the show with you and to chat. But, you know, it's funny because we have spent so much time together already through our mastermind and through, through connecting outside of, work and all that. And it's just been such a delight to know you. And in the short amount of time that we've known each other, the stories that we've shared back and forth have all been evidence of God's love. And I'm just so happy, honored, and proud to have met you, to know you. And again, shout out to Eric Swanson, because through him, his incredible connections, and also the Habitude Warrior conferences, mastermind, and just Habitude Warrior community, we would have never met. But I do believe that God always creates a way for people to meet. And I feel like that the people that do come into your life come into it for a reason.
Well, there's no better time than now when we're facing such challenging times in America, in the United States. And we know it's not just here, but it's global. And people need encouragement. They need hope. They need light. And this show is designed exactly to do that, to bring these iconic, influential leaders and spokespersons who know the Lord, who've had an experience with him. So I'm delighted to have you on the show today, John, to share your God's Hookup story.
And thank you so much for having me and considering this. You and I were talking backstage a little bit before this, but as a professional, I've been told on like LinkedIn and on stages that it's advised as professionals not to bring God, religion, or even thought of faith into any of your professionalism. And it's just too bad that that's the world that we live in, because every single thing, every single day, every time we wake up is evidence of his love. And it's just so incredible. And no matter what your faith is, no matter what angle you come from, there's so many incredible blessings out there. And I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to be in the same room as you, virtually, of course, and to speak and to share some incredible stories. We were sharing stories backstage, but man, stories just open up the heart to learning and to growth and to blessings. And I just can't wait. I'm just so excited.
So tell me one of your God's hookup stories.
Of course, because again, every day we wake up, right, is a God's hookup. Every day we wake up, we know that we've been blessed.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's two things in this world. There's God's hookups and there's God's meetups. And we're right now experiencing the hookups, right? We're getting the blessings. We're receiving miracles. The meetup only happens once. And we're avoiding that. Not we're avoiding it, but we get to prolong our hookups as long as we want. And I think people understand that. But
so what's one of your memorable God's hookups that he did?
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord.
So many to choose from. I love telling this story, and I tell this story a lot from stage, but I want everyone to know that I have built a career in one that I'm not standing in already. And what happened was I was a dedicated professional, graduated from college at the top of my class in public relations, and I was one of the top rated public relations professionals in the country. I served on a vice president executive board, and I had done so many great things, and I had one of the greatest public relations jobs in the country.
Wow.
I was working for the one, the only, the none other than Mr. Coldwell Banker himself.
Yes.
And I was in that division helping the marketing and growth. And we facilitated some communications plans that led to billions, with a B, billions of dollars worth of transactions. We exceeded our sales record. And it was such an incredible time to be a part of the Coldwell Banker movement in commercial real estate. But the thing is one day, like many of the other days, here I am fresh out of college in a dream position, a dream job. I've got my suit, my tie, and I pull up in my beautiful Land Rover, and I get out and I'm walking over to the office building, and it's the kind of office building where you could eat spaghetti off the floor. They're so clean. It's just so nice, these Class A office buildings. And I'm in a good position, right? I'm happy. I've got my salary. I've got my benefits. I'm in a good position. I'm in a place where I can ride my corporate ladder to the top, be in a wonderful place for the rest of my life. And what's great about God is he teaches you which paths you should be on and which ones you've been on that you shouldn't have been. Right. And he does this in such an inspiring way. Well, I get in the elevator, and me, I'm I love being around people, and I love, breaking the silence. So you get into an elevator, a crowded elevator with a bunch of gentlemen and women in suits and ties. And I'm always the first one to speak out loud. So I crack a joke, and the elevator arrives on my suite, the first floor. And as the elevator doors open, I crack this joke and everyone's laughing. This burst of laughter comes out, and I walk out, and I feel like I'm on top of the world, right? I'm owning it. I'm this young professional looking really great. And, we get into the office space. And I start making the rounds. I walk around the office, say hello to the usual people, the CEO, the chairman, the founders, the vice presidents. I'm saying hello to the secretaries. You pass through the break room, right? And you get that smell, the smell of fresh corporate brewed coffee. And you start to make your way past the mail room. And then you kind of get the sounds of clicketing and clacketing of the machines. And you get that smell of the overheated machines that have been running all night, and they're paper copying and so forth. And then I round the corner and I find my desk, this desk that I worked 6 years to sit in. And it is none other than the desk that is actually a cubicle box 2 doors down from the chairman's office himself. So here you are in a great position, feeling like life is awesome. I sit down at my desk, look at the stacks of papers, the things that I needed to do that day. And then, it's an uncommon occurrence, but it's something that happens naturally or just normally. And I bumped my pen. I had this lucky pen that always sat on my desk, right? So imagine this beautiful lucky pen. This isn't it. This is not that pen. I've saved that one for another time. But I accidentally bumped it, and it fell off my desk and started to roll under the desk. And, this is a normal occurrence. So me not wanting to rip my tight pants on my suit, ready? I got to get down. I'm going to show you. I'm going to watch you, ready? I had to get down in this weird position, right? And get down on all fours. And I start crawling under my desk. Again, this is something normal. People do this every single day. And it's way deep back there. It's way deep back there. So I'm reaching, right? I'm reaching. And it feels like I'm in this yoga pose. I'm like, I'm reaching for this pen. And out of the breath, right? When you're getting into an uncomfortable position, you let that breath of air out. And I'm reaching, and I let this breath of air out, and I heard myself say something. And I didn't expect it, but I said the words, "I wish." And here I am reaching for this pen, right? And I'm like, now wait a minute, John. And I played around with it for a minute, and I said, I want to give myself permission to finish that thought. What do you wish for? And I said that out loud too. I said, John, what do you wish for? I'm in a cubicle. I'm 2 doors down from the CEO, and I'm having this moment. And as I gave myself permission to finish the sentence, I said to myself, I wish that I could hide under here all day.
Now
Which
that's
was
an interesting comment.
completely different than the guy who walked through the elevator, who was confident, who was walking the rounds around the office. And I delved on that a little bit deeper, and I reminded myself that, you know what? You're right. This is a great place. This was incredible. I built a life for myself, but it wasn't where I wanted to be. I loved the people that I worked with. I loved the environment. I was in such a good position, and any sensible person would sit in that position for as long as they possibly can so they had their life made for them. But I realized that not only was I talking to myself and being real for the first time in years, but I also felt God reaching out to me and telling me, John, it's time to wake up. You're not where you're supposed to be. And when I had this moment, I did hide under my desk in that yoga position for another, few minutes as I thought to myself, well, what's the next step? Where do I want to be? And I realized something that I want to kind of tailor in an underlying message here, you guys, because I worked really hard to build that life, only to find out that it wasn't the life that I was wanting in the overall results. And because of that, I realized that if I can build the life that I didn't want, God was showing me that I can also build the life that I do want. And that is amazing. And I think a lot of Americans, a lot of people all over the world can resonate with that. That if we are living in a state that we're not satisfied with, and if we spent our entire lives building that life and we're not satisfied with where we're at, can't we all agree that if we built that life, that we can also build the one that we want? And God woke me up that day. He said, John, you've got to quit. Here I am. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. And I've been blessed and gifted with a lot of personal talents. I've been in the speaking business for a very long time. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 12 years old, thanks to my mother and my father. And I've had just so many great ideas. But what I love about this hookup was it was God's reminder that you can build whatever you want. But let me ask you, John, what do you want? And that was an absolute reminder that I was able to and can, and it was always possible for me to build whatever I wanted and to live the way I wanted. It wasn't that day I showed up. I wrote a long drafted email to my supervisor, and I just let him know. I said, hey, I'm sorry. This just came up, and I've got to act on it. Knowing that if I didn't act that day, I may have prolonged that feeling, that experience, that moment, that God hookup for months. And maybe that month would have turned into years, and that years would have turned into decades before I would have been rolling and melting and being totally succumbed to the natural facts and states of where I was living my life at that time. And so for me personally, this was such an impressive, important, and impressionable moment in my life. And I know it's just a simple moment. Miracles come in all shapes and sizes and forms, but the most important thing to remember is that your moment comes when you least expect it. I was in that position for so many more minutes after having that conversation with myself. And you know what I just reflected on, Dr. Barbara, is that after a long, stressful day, after I released that email to my supervisor, knowing that I had to put in my 2 weeks, I realized as I went home that the only thing that I could do, instead of, share my frustration and my anxiety for what's going to happen next, what I want to do, I remember falling to my knees and just giving gratitude, because that is all that I could think of to do at the moment, to be actually clear in what I was doing or what I wanted versus what I didn't want. And to me, that resonates with so many Americans, so many people today who are sitting in jobs they don't love, who are doing things and building lives that they don't care for, all with this idea that they are happy. They've convinced themselves. But remember to look inside, look inward, right? To look inward and say, where do I need to be and where do I want? Because you guys, it is inevitable. We can build the lives that we don't want, but the Lord or God is going to teach us and show us that the life that we do want is the life he wants for us. And that life will also follow what he has planned for us. And that usually means reaching our potential, whatever that looks like for each individual. That means going in the direction that makes you happy, passionate, can serve others, can build the people around you through the industry, the services, the products that you can create, the opportunities that you create through people. And I just wanted to share that. That is in its simplest form, one of my greatest God's hookups. Though there have been miraculous opportunities and incredible stories in my life, it is as simple as dropping a pen and being honest with myself while I am in a state of openness and clarity. God hooked up what was one of the greatest awakenings in my life through a simple notion of being honest and surreal with myself. And I wanted to share that on your show, Dr. Barbara. What a fun time.
Shared that. But I have a couple of questions, because, God is a God. I always tell people God is Jew. Okay. He's Jewish. He doesn't waste anything.
I love that.
I mean it. So all of the training and all the schooling that you received was not for naught, because it was to use it in another direction. So you didn't lose in the sense of you didn't go for that job, but God had prepared you, and maybe unknowingly. And that's what I wanted to hear from you. How did you segue into where God wanted you to be? And here's another statement that I wanted to make too. Isn't it interesting that the question I pose, it's rhetorical. Why would God send us here on a mission to something we don't like, something we hate?
Right?
That's just a simple question, because he's already planted a seed of purpose. This is my belief. Folks may not agree, but this is the word. He plants a seed of purpose within you. And when we come here on a mission. I'm on a mission. I don't know how long, but I'm on a mission. And so it's like really kind of what you do, maybe have to go dig down deep to really, what is it that I really, 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 really want to do? I remember Oprah posing that question. What do you really, 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 I remember saying about 5 times, want to do? And that is, I thank you so much for sharing that story, because there's a lot of symbolism in it. And then you can see you on that desk, reaching for this pen. And I
don't rip those pants, right?
I wish. So the question is, because I know I got the listeners hanging, the viewers hanging, about what did you segue to? Because now you're anxious, you get on your knees, and you said, Lord, what do you want me to do? And here you come up with all the Amplified Minds Corporation, the Champion Circle Networking Group. I mean, you have used all of what you learned about PR and marketing into methodologies that can help people grow their businesses and become millionaires, right? So
absolutely.
So just take a little bit of time, just a couple of minutes, to share. What did you do next?
Well, I love that you said that, couple minutes, because it really doesn't take that long. Most people are ready. They're sitting, they got their pens out, right? Not the one they dropped, but the one they have in hand. They have it ready. They're ready for the formula. They're ready for the secret idea. What's the one thing that's going to help them change their lives forever? And here's the truth, you guys, is just get really clear on what you want. I already was doing something that I loved, which was, and I shared it at the beginning of my story. I was around people that I loved and adored. I worked with incredible people. You know who those people were? Professionals, entrepreneurs, people who were in real estate doing things that they absolutely loved. And I loved supporting and leveraging their passion for their work. So I knew that.
Yes.
And I knew that I could sit around at a table and not coach, but advise and facilitate environments where people could have resources just thrown at them so that they could have success. And I knew, and I've learned this from several friends of ours. And a shout out again to Eric Swanson, because he introduced me to Ruben Gonzalez, an Olympic athlete.
Oh, yes.
And Ruben, I think you've met Ruben as well. Ruben shared with me a quote that has always stuck. And Ruben said that success isn't easy, but success is simple. And I love that, because what I have done from that turning point was as simple as filling rooms with professionals and conducting meetings that allowed people to share resources. And that has evolved into the corporation that we built, the masterminds that I lead, the networking associations, because built on the preface. And God bless Napoleon Hill and the Napoleon Hill Foundation, because in his prophetic time of search and development, he learned so much about what God was teaching people about what they could do to personally develop and improve themselves so that they could prosper in life and business.
Yeah.
And I found that really, really quickly. So the answer to your question, Barbara, is what did you do in transition from grabbing that pen, quitting my job, and moving into the space? Is I dreamt. I took the time to dream. Because until then, everything was as paper and plastic difference in what I needed to do. Is black and white, go to college, get a degree, do this and do that. That's what the platform was allotted to me.
Yep.
But the simple answer is this: is I took the time to dream. I took the time to realize what I really wanted was to sit in this awesome room with people like Dr. Barbara, Eric Swanson, incredible celebrities, awesome business owners, even the youngest of entrepreneurs, and everyone who had the opportunity to make a difference, people who were dreamers, people who had ideas and options in their lives, to fill a room with people and surround myself with people like that. And when I did that, the answers came, the possibilities were created, the resources flooded the room, and really my job became easy. It was to continue to do what I loved and to continue to serve the ones that I loved. And it's so easy in business, in networking, and in sales to go out there. And if you're an introvert or extrovert or a no-trovert, it doesn't matter. You have the ability to love people. And that was God's message to me: is you love people, John. You need to find a way to do what you love with people who you love so that you could show them, teach them, facilitate the environment that they could receive the love and the resources that will help them break through their needs and their challenges and overcome those with their help, God's help, your help, and through the help of others. And I love that. I always love quoting African proverbs when they say, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. And not that I'm prophetic in any inch, but I would add to that and say, if you want to go fast and far, go with many others. Surround yourselves with those who you love and do what you love.
Thank you so much, John. Because I was going to sort of give you the solo, sort of like, what would you say to the viewers out there? But you said it so well put, and such a lovely young man. I'm so glad I had an opportunity to meet you, to get to know you, and to know your heart. And I know listeners out there, you have seen and heard John. The thing I like about television sometimes, as opposed to radio, is you actually get to see the person who's talking and to actually relate to them. Yeah. And so, John, I can't thank you enough for being on the show today. It was terrific. This was terrific. And for my viewers out there, you can download this show and you can go YouTube and to receive, let me tell you, you can receive any updates for all of my live upcoming shows. Subscribe to my YouTube channel or Dr. Barbara Radio at Gmail. That's at Dr. Barbara Radio at Gmail. And you know what? You can follow me for any of my new radio and TV shows on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, again, at Dr. Barbara Young. And I'd like to invite any of you out there, if you would like to be a guest on the show and share as John did, Kovash, I pronounced it
You
right.
did it right. Nice job.
You can contact me at Dr. B at godshookups.com. Dr. B at God's
So
Hookup.
simple.
So simple. And I want you to share the show with your friends, because this, again, is that show. It's going to bring light, going to bring a lot of help and a lot of solutions right quick to people who need to hear a word. And this is a good word. So, Speaker John, I love you. I want to thank you so much again for being on the show. And any last things you want to say? I just want to say, I love you. I love you. I love you.
Oh, I love you too, Dr. Barbara. And just to wrap this all up, first of all, thank you for this opportunity. And thank you, Dr. Barbara, for following and acting on all of your God's hookups throughout your life. Because like I said, in the professional world, a lot of people will disregard the effects and the influence of God himself. And I think that it's so important that we have this platform. I also want to thank you, thank the listeners, and thank you to the future listeners who view this down the road. I hope that the message and the God's hookup example resonates with you and you're able to take action on what you hear. Later on your show, you're going to have a few friends of mine, Jeff Griffin included, and his story will shock you. He will blow you away, and I'm so happy.
People, we have 2 other shows. We have one at 1:30 with a woman by the name of Infinity Dawn.
What a name. What a beautiful name.
Infinity Dawn. And then at 2:30, we have Jeff Griffin. You cannot miss his story. Well, not and Infinities as well. This show is bringing 3 incredible people on a Friday. So you can just spend your Fridays listening, viewing Dr. Barbara Young's God's Hookups. So I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Love you, love you, love you. Hello, and welcome to God's Hookups television show. This is Dr. Barbara Young, your host, and this is a show that features up close and personal interviews with guests from all walks of life who share their stories about unexplainable blessings, successful events, and extraordinary miracles and encounters that can only be of God's hookup. You will receive hope, enlightenment, encouragement that will feed your spirit and your soul. Now, to my guest today.